Hello, this is Sam Zima, your host. Greetings. Thank you for tuning in. Please settle down. We're going to be talking about the entry of our brand new show dedicated to the regional project in the sports sector called COMETSAJane Sekhukhune FC show. The effort to preserve our football heritage and continue our philosophy of human capital development through football. And this is my homecoming to my district of Sekhukhune in the Limpopo Province of South Africa. And to be specific, my hometown of Jane Furse, located at the Makulu Tamaga local municipality. We are back home, brothers and sisters. I look forward to talk to you and engage with you in the future series of this wonderful project. While you are settling down, I'm going to play you our beautiful theme song, and we will be back just now. Welcome once more. Thank you for tuning in. We are continuing. In this first series, I would like to talk to you about a very beautiful project that we have conceptualized. And this project is a research project into traditional village football clubs in the Sekhukhune District of Limpopo Province, South Africa. It is a chapter within a bigger project that we want to embark on, and that is that of studying the uniqueness of the traditional village football clubs in South Africa at large. And the organization that is going to do this is COMETSAJane Sekhukhune FC Pty Limited. And the show that is going to bring this to you is the show named after the same organization, and it is called COMETSAJane Sekhukhune FC. Now, this is the offshoot of the long and many years of football development in the organization, and you're going to hear more about that as we move forward. So, COMETSAJane Sekhukhune FC Pty Limited is the organization that originates from our original COMETSA Goldstones Football Club in Johannesburg, which has always been dedicated to human capital development through football. However, COMETSAJane Sekhukhune FC is not a typical football club that chases after becoming a professional outfit playing in the prestigious football leagues. No, that's not the objective. We are a business organization, a company with interest in the business of football in all its aspects. Should it be successful as a professional football club or an academy, that will be celebrated. However, its main objective is to become a business company in the football sector. Our organization, COMETSA, has achieved amazing results, especially the career growth of our member players who founded many of our football projects and our development initiatives since our establishment on the 1st of August 1997 in Johannesburg. We have now transferred those development programs and initiatives to our non-profit development agency, COMETSA Sports Development Agency, NPC. We do, however, recognize the fact that football as sport belongs to the official associations governed by the global laws of the game under the FIFA supervision. In South Africa, football is the responsibility of the South African Football Association, SAFA. And at the local levels, it is through SAFA local football associations, the LFA structures. We respect and recognize these football structures. In fact, in 2014, COMETSA Sports Development Agency received some funding from the German development agency called GIZ to run a series of youth development through football, the YDF project, sessions. COMETSA identified the SAFA Tshwane's Moripane Local Football Association as one of the beneficiaries of these initiatives. We conducted YDF program for their club coaches, specifically the Moripane Local Football Association, and issued certificates on completion of the program. We would love to continue such collaborations with the football associations through our COMETSA Sports Development Agency. Now, COMETSAJane Sekhukhune FC is focusing on the commercial aspects of the business of football. Our interest is the local town of Jane Furse and the region of Sekhukhune District municipality in Limpopo Province of South Africa. Jane Furse is in fact one of the fastest growing peri-urban towns in South Africa. It is officially designated to become a city of the future. The platinum mining region of Burgersfort justifies this strategic goal for Jane Furse. In the future, we will be proudly talking about Jane First City in Sekhukhune District Municipality, Limpopo Province. And we hope that COMETSAJane Sekhukhune FC will be counted among those organizations that will have contributed to the achievement of this vision. It is within our plan to extend this project to other regions of South Africa once we have succeeded in building a strong base reference in the Sekhukhune region in Limpopo Province. In fact, our main objective is to exchange the village football club's heritage of the various regions in South Africa. We strongly believe that this is the most important piece of the South African football that is rich with culture that can be shared with the football sector globally. And we are convinced that we will achieve that through our international partner associations and organizations. Now, this brings me to the topic, the research project, the village football clubs, specifically in the Sekhukhune region. I grew up in this Jane First area as a head boy, scholar, and a village football fanatic, playing for Moripane Scientists FC, a village football club at Moripane village, outside Jane First. I grew up following some of the great village football clubs with colorful names, brands that mobilized the village boys. Our first exposure to football was through these village football clubs. We are the scholars and graduates of village football in the greater Sekhukhune region, before we could become supporters and fans of the now famous South African football clubs like Kaizer Chiefs, Orlando Pirates, the defunct Moroka Swallows, the late old teams like Pretoria Kellys, Benoni United, Zulu Royals, you name them. In fact, we knew of these South African great clubs and brands through radio broadcasts. So, if my local village football club was playing, and at the same time on radio there was a broadcast of Kaizer Chiefs versus Orlando Pirates game, we will always opt for our local village football club games because we had no relation to these great names other than hearing about them on radio. And that is how strong local village football was in the greater Sekhukhune region in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. The closest we were to South African big football teams was through the emergence of Limpopo football clubs like Seshego Stonebreakers FC, Seshego City Carlton FC, Seshego Saints FC, Maholiring Real Rovers FC. And when Vuleu Negros FC in Tafelkop hosted the first professional team in Greater Sekhukhune region, which was Kaizer Chiefs FC, we were really, really over the moon. This is the game which Chiefs used, by the way, to introduce their legendary Nelson Pozozo Dladla to its supporters. This was his first ever game for Kaizer Chiefs. And this is how Kaizer Chiefs grew their support base in the greater Sekhukhune region. This tradition of going on away on game trips is so memorable. Whenever we go on a trip to play games against other village clubs, the singing as warriors of our village football clubs was always to intimidate the host clubs. Many of these village football clubs were known by their trip war songs. We were very jealous of our songs being copied by rival village football clubs. And when the games were big, like tournaments, we will organize additional transport for our ladies supporters who will add more power to intimidating the host clubs. And of course, there was non-stop singing by the ladies throughout the match, giving a boost to their team. They will sing, calling the names of their team players throughout the game. When the strategy will not work, they will assemble behind the opposition team's goals to unsettle their goalkeeper with the noise. Hopefully, he will lose concentration and let the ball in. Sometimes this strategy will backfire, as it will only serve to motivate the opposition goalkeeper to work even harder and even win the ladies over. I remember myself as a youngest goalkeeper defying the intimidation of the ladies of Makalaneng's Modern Village Football Club at Ramolebane outside Jenfes. At the end of the game, I had won favor of one of the ladies who wanted to come with our team, Moripane Scientists FC, because of the beautiful goal game I was playing. Of course, I was still very young and she was much older than me, and I would not know what to do with her in any way. But this was a memorable day for me. And this is how crazy we were. So this was the craziness of village football in Sekhukhune District in those days. I wonder what happened to this fanatic practice. And this is exactly what we would like to bring back before some of those former greats are no more. We were also fortunate in the greater Sekhukhune region in that we started building a number, the region started building a number of high schools which attracted players from far places like the south. High schools like Malikutu High School at Bupeli, at Raskwati. High schools like Bupeli High School at Ramarishan. Matsibong High School at Jenfes. Patametsane High School at Pokwane. And Hlogotlu High School at Skinot, etc. and etc. attracted scholars from other parts of South Africa who contributed immensely to the regional village football. These scholars played for the village football clubs on weekends as well. They became celebrity football players in the villages. I'm going to share with you some of my greatest ever legendary village football clubs in the Sekhukhune District. And I would like to cover all of them in this episode and the subsequent episodes. And later on, extend this research by dedicating episodes to each one of them and hopefully be able to visit those villages and speak to the legends who are still alive. And as we do this project, I will add some other village football clubs that I might have missed, and to give you a big picture of how big village football clubs and village football in general was at Sekhukhune District in those days. And you will notice that almost all of them have their names starting with the name of the village where they come from. Look at the creativity of the naming of these village clubs. Through these names, you can realize the influence from other regions of South Africa. And of course, radio broadcast contributed to this creativity. I will be failing in my duty if I don't start with my own village football club, Moripane Scientists, formerly nicknamed Lekadika Losmechair FC, based at Moripane village. At Moripane Scientists FC, we had visiting scholar players like the late Pro Tlaka from Tafelkop Vulehundi Cross FC, like my uncle Alex Sugar Ray Mateva from Ankwana, and my other uncle Ellington Kaisa Mateva, also from Ankwana. My brother Papeli Babsi Ramushu from Manganeng. This was despite the animosity between village football clubs in those days. It was unheard of to live in one village and then play for a different village football club. In actual fact, it was scandalous to do so. You will not even openly date a lady from another village. That is why Moripane Village Club was originally called Moripane Lekatika Los Cherry FC. Of course, we changed this name in the 80s when my generation felt that it was not a constructive name or not appealing name. Other village clubs were very scared of visiting our village club for games. We were forever going on away games and not getting return matches. And this is how games were organized, by the way, in those days. You go away and play, and then the team will then give you return match because there were no leagues in the earlier days. You had to go and to play as many away games so that they owe you a lot of return matches, and you will then have a lot of home games in later times of the months of the year. Our games record was always out of balance as a result of us not getting return matches. We had also started recruiting players from other villages. The name change was proposed by my friend Mr. Ovid Sugar Ray Muhlala and I. Ovid and I used to travel daily on foot to Malekudu High School at Rashukwati Mamone. We will be discussing our football village club issue all the way. And one day, we discussed our village club name. Of course, we were the emerging young intellectuals in the village. The name scientists came to our minds. We wondered how we will explain this intellectual name to the other members of the village club. So, we translated into Sepedi language, which means Uramahlale, the scientists. They loved the name, and the rest is history. The club remained Moripane Scientists FC, and until today it is known as such. There is no club in Greater Sekhukhune region calling themselves by this name, at least by then. This has been creativity at its best. We love this club. It has produced many of us. Generations after generations have played for it, and the journey continues. We are planning to issue certificates of recognition to all those who played for Moripane Scientists FC, alive and those who have passed on. This will be a thank you to them for passing on the football heritage of this small village in the Sekhukhune District to the rest of us. And I can't wait for that opportunity to present itself when we shall be saying thank you to these great legends of our village football club. Let me also share with you a little bit about my own project that I initiated as a young boy in the village, looking forward to grow and later to join Moripane Scientists. And that is long before we became players from Moripane Scientists. I started as a junior boys club while I was still in primary school, and we called it Moripane Mosehleng Shining Stars FC. I started Mosehleng Shining Stars FC with some of my friends and my cousins. I still remember how most of us emerged into the senior village club, Moripane Scientists FC, with our nicknames we gave ourselves at the junior village football clubs. Such names were influenced by radio broadcasts, and we will adopt some of the great stars' names, even though we had not met them before. For example, I nicknamed myself Malombo, and I did not even know what the name meant. I just liked Jan Malombo Lichava of Pretoria Kellys FC, who later joined Kaizer Chiefs FC and played along the great players like Patrick Esentleng. I nicknamed my cousin 1010 after the great Petros 1010 Zimande of COMETSA Chiefs FC. And until today, my cousin Dan Papelipajana is only just known as 1010. Everywhere he goes, he is 1010. Until today, every now and then when I see him and I hear somebody calling him 1010, I just laugh because I know exactly how that name came about. I used to like the great Petros 1010 Zimande. At Moripane Scientists FC, the names were also given by our greatest fan number one, the late Mr. Maruane Mpila. He was a football poet and orator of note. He gave people names like Robert, who was called China the Communist, and his brother was called King Kong, Mutwana Pilenyane. My uncle Amos Pajane was known as Danger. And my friend Mr. Rantu was known as Sawa Maswavudila. Sawa Maswavudila Rantu. We had people like in Nchirana Masemula known as King Sof. We didn't even know who King Sof was. And our friend Mr. Lekhogola was known as Matanya Tanyola, Nakaov Piriwa Makhamatala. We had people like Banda Guruan and Super 7 Lekhogola and Siswaneng Lamaru Apula, Mr. Leport. We had people like Sydney the Horse Mathas. So goes on, the names goes on. This was really a great culture and a great tradition. When I was going to school at Malikutu, I came into contact with some other great names and great clubs that were competing against each other, but also their players were, most of them, attending school at Malikutu. I remember very well the famous Furse Highlanders FC. This club was based at Furse peri-urban area and at some stage was managed by one of the progressive white people who worked at Furse Memorial Hospital then. For him, this was just a social responsibility project. But for the people of Furse, this was a serious, proud project of theirs. We were all emotionally attached to this prestigious football club, Furse Highlanders FC. Some of its players worked at Furse Memorial Hospital. It was the pride of Furse and the region. And this is the club that had the potential to become the first professional football club from Sekhukhune region. Unfortunately, football in South Africa had not reached the level it is at today. Then, and the country was fighting to be liberated from the horrible, oppressive apartheid system of government, which sought to crush anything that was about advancement of black people. We are glad, though, that one of the former and legendary football players of Furse Highlanders FC, Mr. Spielman Ace Squati, is the current president of SAFA Sekhukhune Local Football Association. We would like to revisit the history of Furse Highlanders with him and many other legends, just to tell the young generation of today what it meant to have Furse Highlanders FC then in the region or the town of Furse. Next door to Furse was one of the clubs that I favored and supported so much quietly, even though I was playing for Moripane Scientists. And whenever we played against them, I was always conflicted, but always enjoyed beating them. And that is the club from Mokwete called Mokwete Morning Stars FC. This club from this small village of Mokwete outside Jane Furse was really one of the great brands of village football club in our area. The place was originally called Doornkop, named after the area where its residents came from in Middelburg, when under apartheid forced removals policy, some of the people from there in Middelburg were brought over to Mokwete, or then Doornkop. The club was one of the weakest in the region until the entrepreneur or a shop owner, Mr. Selala, took over the club. He sponsored the club and brought great players to the club. He was the first person to introduce the practice or the concept of picking up players from far clubs whenever he had a big match to play. And that became almost a practice after that by many other clubs, village clubs in the region. Another community forced removed from Marble Hall was settled in the Mokwete village. And this tended to be a benefit to Mokwete Morning Stars FC. They had some of the great players. And Mr. Slala, as the owner of the club, was quite very receptive to these new arrivals. He was himself a passionate football lover and supporter in the region. The River family that also settled in the village added more to the football growth in the village. Their children, who were studying in various colleges, came over for weekends with friends from high schools and colleges like Buperiva Beri High School, Limana College of Education, Sekhukhune College of Education, Mamokhalake College of Education, and etc., etc., etc. They will use their transport to ferry their players and accommodate them at their parents' houses, at their shop. This was a phenomenon in the region. All of a sudden, Mokwete Morning Stars FC became an admirable village football club in the region. They had arrived in the league of the clubs like Furse Highlanders FC, COMETSAJane FC, Malibong Sweepers FC, Vleisboom Lindifast 11 FC, Marishana United Brothers FC, Mojalefa FC at Skinot, and Skinodo Chiefs, etc. Mr. Slala was an orator and entertainer of note, as I mentioned, while his team will be getting ready at his shop, having been picked up in his buggy from the field at halftime of the B team game. As intimidation, he will be walking around the soccer field, loudly calling his team of the day name by name. As young followers of the beautiful game, we could not help it but to walk along him, listening to the great names of the players he was calling. Some we know of, like D&D, the General, Matwe, Nakaya Vuperia Mahlamatal, Paulville Mana College, Maria, Cha Chando, etc. Whenever Mokwete Morning Stars FC was playing against COMETSAJane FC, you could be assured that none of us will go to the field to look after cattle. We will leave the cattle unattended just to watch a local derby football match. This was really great days. And this is just to give you a taste of what is more to come. And I'm going to continue giving you the summary of each of the clubs until I've covered the majority of them. And then I will start opening episodes that will be dedicated to each of the clubs as I visit village by village doing these recordings. Because I'm very much keen to hear the story fully from the legends of each of these village football clubs who knew the clubs in detail. I'm going to stop at this point, And the next club we will continue from in episode number 2 will be Moripane Wanderers FC, which was also based in Jane Furse. It's an exciting journey we are embarking on, and we are really looking forward to engage you guys, ladies and gentlemen, in Jane Furse, Sekhukhune District, beyond Jane Furse, to the rest of Limpopo, and any other person from other parts of the country who wants to contribute to the history of traditional football, village football clubs in our country. I thank you for listening to this first episode, and if you want to be in touch with us, feel free to call us at +27 11-974-9308. That is if you are calling from outside the country. If you are calling from inside the country of South Africa, dial 011-974-9308 or send us email at callcenter@cometa-goc.com. You are also welcome to visit our website, www.COMETSAFC.com, and we will look forward to respond to any questions you might be having. You can also call our mobile number, +27 72 376 7503, if you are calling from outside South Africa. If you are calling from within South Africa, dial us directly at 072 376 7503. We look forward to hearing from you. Goodbye. Take care. Until next time. Enjoy a peace as we started.